is our greatest president? This week, scholars weighed in with their latest survey ranking all 45 American presidents, rating Abraham Lincoln, Franklin Roosevelt, and George Washington as the top three. By the way, the father of our country dropped one spot since last time. As for our three most recent presidents, take a look at this. Barack Obama moved higher in the top 10 to number 7. Joe Biden debuting on the list at 14, ahead of Ronald Reagan and Woodrow Wilson, and Donald Trump rated dead last at 45. Jonah, is Trump really our worst president?
He might be the worst person to have been president. That's a debatable proposition. But, it used to mean that we had the great man theory of history. Greatness didn't necessarily mean good, right? I mean, Hitler was Time Magazine's Man of the Year. Stalin got it twice because there was this idea that you were consequential.
But we're not saying important. Yeah. We're saying great.
Right. So, but what does great mean? They don't really say in their study. If great means consequential, you can't put Trump dead last because he was of significant consequence to our politics. He put 3 Supreme Court justices on the court. Do I think he made America worse? Quite arguably. But the only one point I want to make about this, these polls are incandescently stupid. They do not tell us anything interesting about the presidents themselves. They tell us very interesting things about the people being polled. When you take a poll at CPAC or something like that, it doesn't say whether or not the policy they endorse is correct. It tells you something interesting about the people who responded to the poll. The fact that these political scientists think that Joe Biden is the 14th best president in American history tells you a lot about them and nothing about Joe Biden.
Really got under 14. No, not 14. He's 12 or 16.
Tara, I want to pick up on that. Joe Biden at 14,
I don't know.
2 slots ahead of Ronald Reagan.
I would say Ronald Reagan was more consequential. You'd have to, whether you liked him or not. He was an important president, even just for tear down that wall. He did a lot of things, a lot of terrible things around AIDS and things like that. But nonetheless, very consequential president. And
incidentally, speaking to him, Ronald Reagan has dropped 7 spots.
Ronald Reagan was an important president. He was an important. He just was. There's no way around it.
Do you know what they both agreed on though? Because they actually broke it down to like political persuasions, and both Lincoln. Both Republicans and Democrats agreed on Bill Clinton, which I thought was very funny.
Which is another bias in these things.
I would have kept Washington at 1. Washington's number 1.
But there's actually not a lot of recency bias because there are some who have gone up and some who have gone down, who are more recent. Which of all the rankings of the 45 ticks you off the most, Reihan?
Oh, where to begin? The idea that Joe Biden, 3 years
Okay, move off of Joe Biden.
Sorry,
Ryan, go with another president. There were 45
I actually really do think
That's
that is recency bias. Barack Obama at number 7, Bill Clinton as high as he was, George H.W. Bush, not everyone's favorite Republican, granted, but he was ranked in the 30s. Someone who, in his one term, compared to Joe Biden, was just enormously consequential in having shepherded the end of the Cold War. It's just...
Ryan, pick a dead one. I want him to pick a dead one at some point.
All right.
Jay's poll deserves to be much higher.
Okay, good. Okay.
I mean, I do have to say this about Obama. I like Barack Obama fine, but to be number 7, up 9 spots, incidentally, since 2015,
I'm going to agree
putting
with
them
you.
ahead of, to give you some dead presidents, Madison and Monroe.
Yeah.
Lulu, who ticks you off?
I think this is like nerd prom. I mean, that
was the working name for this show at one point.
Nerd prom? Yes. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to recuse myself because I'm just going to take a page from Jonah's book and say that it is a little bit silly to have this debate. Ultimately, I couldn't rank them.
Yeah. Lincoln, Washington, and that's where I stop.
Wait, are you?
Oh, and Washington being number 3 rather than number 2?
Yeah.
I mean, at a minimum.
Yeah, how do you explain that?
Well, look, I mean, he was the American Cincinnatus. He was the person who was the person who was responsible for independence. I mean, that's just.
Well,
bias isn't the only bias. There's also in these polls for years, going back 50 years, they've been doing these kinds of things. Presidents who expand the role of government get rated higher than presidents who mind their own business. Calvin Coolidge always ranks low because he doesn't do the things like FDR and Woodrow Wilson did of expanding the role of the administrative state, expanding the role of government. Political scientists like that stuff. George H.W. Bush, who managed to keep problems at bay, goes low. People who do big, consequential things that expand the role of the presidency.
George
get
H.W.
hard
Bush, who
roles.
keeps problems at bay as opposed to going into Kuwait and stuff. I mean, this is part of the. Listen, this is part of. The whole problem
suddenly
with this
she's
debate.
engaged.
Of course I'm
She didn't
engaged.
care.
I just
She
was
didn't
like, well, I mean, of course I'm engaged. The problem with all of this is as follows. When we look at these figures, we don't actually look at their entirety of what they've done, and it is based on your own political persuasions that you would rate George H.W. Bush higher than perhaps a Bill Clinton.
Although let me say, with Washington, the reason he dropped is he's woke, obviously.
I love the fact that we all sit there and say, oh, this is crazy, and that it
Of course we love it.
Of course we do.
up next.